Alright guys, this is something I want to share with you. I'm doing a prosperity money spell that I started a while back, and there's this honey jar I have with, it's a spell that Hekatean gave me directly, and inside of it is $3 bills, some coins. How much change that you put in there is really up to you. I put a silver pinnacle in there, but the way that Hekatean described it to me, she told me to put $3 bills specifically and to submerge them in honey. Okay, so this is a jar of honey, and I stuck the $3 bills in there. And there's also, I think I put an aventurine crystal in there, if you can see it kind of right there in the bottom of the jar. It also has lavender herb, rosemary, anise, and I think I put a little bit of bay leaf in there. All of the pinnacle and the herbs and the crystal was all my own additive to the spell, but what Hekatean told me was put $3 bills in a jar of honey. And she said put some change, but she wasn't specific. So I just put what I had on hand at the time. I made this about a year ago, I think. And I've been using it by burning candles on the top of the jar. That's how she said to do the spell, was to burn a candle on the top of the jar anytime when you need money, okay? So I don't use this all the time, but when I am in extra need or something, that's when I will burn a candle on top. And I actually melted the last lid, so I put a new lid on it. That's how come you don't see wax on this lid or anything. I had to find a metal lid from another jar and put it on here because I had a plastic lid and I melted it, you guys. Don't ever try to do a jar spell with a plastic lid, okay? You always want a metal lid. That's just as a side note. But, so that's basically, I believe that's all the contents in the jar. And I haven't used this in a while, actually. But what I'm showing y'all in this video is how I dress the candle that I use. Okay, because I don't just burn a candle on it. I dress the candle, and I'm just going to show you how I do that. What's the process, okay? So this is dressing a money candle specifically. So what I have right here is just a little bit of rosemary herb and a piece of a bay laurel leaf, whatever you want to call it, and just some rosemary, okay? And then I have ground nutmeg right here that I will also be putting onto the candle. So it's like a powder, okay? That's the only herbs I'm going to be using for this. Now, these are the herbs I usually use, okay? But really, you can look up at any herbal encyclopedia, you know, what herbs are good for money, okay? And you can just use whatever you have on hand or whatever you can get, okay? These are just the herbs I like to use. So first of all, what I'll do is, this is just how I like doing it in my little process order thing. What I do is I take this tool that I made and I inscribe on the candle my name and my intention. So that's what I'm going to do first. I do write in all caps, or I do write my whole name. And then I also write my witch name, which you all know is Hekatean. I identify so much with that I just write that on here as well. Okay, then I put my astrological sign, like your zodiac. I put that. And I put a personal sigil that I made that represents my witch name, okay? So that's what I put first, and it's the most important step because you want to make sure that you identify the spell to you and target it onto yourself, okay? So that's what I do first. And by the way, this is going to be a messy process, so just be aware of that. You're going to make a little bit of a mess if you do it my way. I'm sure there's much cleaner ways to do it, but I am a hedge witch, and I don't mind getting the herbs and stuff all over the altar when I'm doing the spell. And I don't mind getting my hands dirty either, okay? So next, I'm just going to put on here money come to me in infinite abundance, okay? And another thing, when it comes to money spells and stuff like that, I do tend to do them on Thursdays and in the hour of Jupiter. Okay, so actually it is Thursday morning while the sun's rising, and I view the sunrise as a new creation, bringing something into your life, okay? You don't have to cast all your spells by the moon, okay, guys? Whereas the moon has cycles of waxing and waning for creation or destruction, the sun rises and sets every single day, okay? So just a little tip that I threw in this video. You can do your spells with the sunrise or the sunset for the same reasons, okay? Of creation or destruction. So anyways, it's sunrise, it's Thursday, the day of Jupiter, and it is also the hour of Jupiter right now. That's why I'm doing this spell at this timing. And also too, the energy of the full moon does last for 3 days, which is the day before the full moon, the day of, and the day after. And so we're in the day after the full moon right now, so it's still considered the full moon's energy. That's how it was taught to me by my mom. So that's what I go by. Okay, so the final thing that I write on the candle is I like to draw on here the symbol of the sun in astrology, which is just a circle with a dot in the middle, and the symbol for Jupiter, because Jupiter rules the expansion of things, including money, okay? So I put the sun symbol, the Jupiter symbol, and I also include the symbol for Venus, okay? Now you can choose whatever symbols you want to put on there, but those are the ones that I like to use. I went ahead and put the moon as well because, I don't know, I usually just put those 4 symbols. Sometimes I also include Mercury because he rules business. I'll go ahead and put that too, actually. Okay, so if y'all can see that, I put all those symbols on there. Okay, so now I'll just kind of set this aside for a minute. And next what I do is I take the herbs and I break them up. And I like to do it with my hand. I do have mortar and pestles, you guys, but I mainly only use that for like noxious and poisonous herbs that I don't want to touch, okay? But most of the time when I'm doing spells with any kind of herb that is not poisonous, I like breaking it up. with my hands because I feel like my intention and my energy goes into it more when I do that. Okay, so I literally just grind it up with my fingers. Okay, and I'll do the same with the bay leaf. It doesn't really take much herbs, you guys, so you don't gotta overdo it. I didn't even use a whole bay leaf. I used like a piece of one that was just randomly in my jar of bay leaves. But just try to break it up as small as you can. Get it all mixed together. Putting my intention. Bring me infinite money. Bring it quickly. Okay. So I'll put a little bit of the nutmeg mixed in with that. And this is already powdered, so I'm just going to put like a little bit, about that much, mixed in with it. And then further mix it. Okay. Now we have a good little amount there. That's actually probably too much, but that's okay because I like to cover the candle in it and also leave it around the candle. So the next thing that I do is I take my oil that I'm using. This is attraction oil that actually I bought this from Art of the Root through eBay. She has the store on eBay, but the oil that's in here actually is my own oil that I mixed. There was like a little bit of the oil that I bought left in here, like that much. And then I added all of my own oil in it, and it like turned green and stuff when I did all that. And I don't have the list in front of me of what all I put in this oil, but I will let you guys know if you want to know later on. Another thing I should mention is everything that I wrote on here, I wrote from this way downward, okay, because you're drawing something into you. So now I just take the oil and I get it all over the candle, okay? And I like to rub it coming down as well towards me. Okay. Give it a good coating in oil. When you put oil on a candle, be very generous, okay? So now I will just take the herbs and literally just rub them on it. I'm sure there's a more cleaner way to do this, but this is just how I do it. Okay. So, get all that good magic in me. On me, I should say. Now, I forgot my lighter. Of course I forgot my lighter. Okay. So now I will take this jar and, okay, melt the bottom of the candle. Hopefully I'm not blocking it with my hand. But, then I'll just stick it right to the top of the lid. And like I said, make sure that you do this with a metal lid if you're going to be doing it in a jar spell. You don't have to do this with a jar spell. You can just make the candle itself and put it in a regular holder. And okay, so now that it's all dressed, kind of let it sit there for a minute. And then what I'll do is kind of clear a spot in the middle of this. And then I'll transfer the jar onto this with all the extra herbs just gathered around it. And then I have a bunch of stones over here that I'm going to put with it as well. These are aventurine stone. I have some moss agate stones mixed with it. Okay. So I'll just put those around it as well. Okay. And then I have 2 citrine stones that I'm also going to include with this. Oh, actually, I have to make one. Okay. So there we go. Put all those around it. This whole process, you're charging your intention into every step that you do, okay? And then I just have 2 quartz points that amplify the energy of spells. And I'll just put those on both sides, which is, that's the east and that's the west when you're looking at when it's my altar. So I'll put them on either sides like that, east and west. And then I'll just light the candle. So that is how I personally dress my candles. And I also have an incense I'll burn with it's just a store-bought incense for business. I buy that at the Botanica store. So I'm just going to burn one. I'm sorry, I was trying to zoom out. So I'm just lighting it up. And I will just burn this as an offering with the spell. So, alright y'all, that is basically it for this video. And I'll be doing the Keys of Light video next, which is just those methods of empowerment that Hecate taught me. But I wanted to quickly show y'all how to dress the candle since it was requested by Kevin, and I thought that y'all would all be interested in that, and I thought that it would be good to show how to do a money candle dressing specifically. Now you can apply this to any type of spell, just use the right herbs and stones and stuff, but okay. Blessed be y'all.